Hi, welcome to the Mom Files, Moments of Motherhood podcast, a place where the hard things have room to exist without shame.
If you're a mom, you'll get realistic routines, gentle validation, and encouragement to try new things. We're here to be your village, a judgment-free zone for modern motherhood. Take what fits for you and leave the rest.
We're happy you're here. Let's jump in.
Welcome back to the Mom Files. I'm Aleea.
And I'm Hav.
Today, we are diving into the idea of when holiday joy starts feeling like a to-do list. We know there is a lot of unseen emotional, but also just labor in general over the holidays, the mental load of just being the one who plans, shops, organizes. There's events. I think of like if your kid's in school, you have teacher gifts or your whole family and friends gifts, stockings, travel, decor, whatever. The list goes on and on when it comes to making it magical, and on top of also keeping kind of your daily life running. People forget, yes, you have all of that, but you still have to do laundry, make meals 3 times a day. There's just all of your normal stuff and then your holiday stuff. And then on top of that, you might even be dealing with grief or financial issues, career issues, so on and so forth. There's just so many things that could be happening during this time of year. And so today we will be chatting just about all of this kind of quiet resentment that can build, how the social media fuels this comparison, which I know we talked about it a little bit last week, and we actually will be talking about it more next week. So we'll kind of focus more on the holiday portion. And then also why it's okay to simplify and redefine what your version of holiday looks like, just because it can look different, especially depending on the season you're in. And so let's kind of dive in. Hav, do you want to start us off? I'm sure this is something that you experience a little bit with just everything.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Historically, like in my relationship, I'm the gift giver. So there's that portion of it, right? Knowing what everybody wants and making sure that everything is taken care of beforehand. But I think there's a whole new portion of it added when there's a child involved. And I think you made at the end of what you were just saying about adjusting your Christmas or your holidays and how it can look different. And that's something that I'm kind of facing right now is, like you said, there's financial components, there's familial stuff, grief stuff. There's lots of stuff going on. And that is something that we're trying to figure out what Christmas is going to look like for us this year, but still wanting it to be as amazing every year, and like how we're going to do that financially and mentally. I know for me, a lot of it's financially right now, but a lot of it's mentally. Like I just don't have the energy to be doing all of these, like Halloween right now. I know this episode's going to come out after, but like
we're in Halloween.
Yeah, last year we did 6 trunk or treats.
Wow.
And I'm like 1. we're good.
Pick your favorite.
Yeah, I'm that's the thing is I love Halloween. So it's one of those things where I feel like it puts on that extra burden, and like then I'm all that quiet resentment. Honestly, a lot of it I feel like is put on the resentment on myself for creating so many boundaries for Christmas, right? We can't spend this much money. We can't go on vacation, like whatever it is. So I think there's a bit of quiet resentment that can be put on yourself.
Yeah, I agree 100%, especially as you were saying that, how it feels like as moms, we really can't feel like overwhelmed, or we feel like we can't even have that resentment because it's, at least for me, because when you say you put it on yourself, it's like, I want to do all of this. And then it's like, well, now you can't feel bad because you're choosing to want to do all of this. Or even on the flip side, it's like, maybe you want to, but you can't. And then you're like, well, I feel bad because I can't afford it, et cetera, et cetera. And so I just think it's interesting because, yeah, as you were saying that, I just felt it is a really hard, because it's like you want to do it all, you can't do it all.
No, it's true.
It is hard.
You can do it all. Let's say there's no financial burden, whatever, right? There is that, okay, I want to do it all, but I think you have a good point of like, I chose to want to do it all. I chose to want to send my friends a gift that is not just me sending like random gift cards, right? Like wanting to be intentional about it, or wanting to be intentional about what we're giving grandparents or siblings. And especially with how the holidays have just like snowballed over, our whole lives. It's been crazy. But I think there's this expectation of like, you have to get everybody something.
Mhm.
in your life, but you want it to be, like, thoughtful.
Right.
And, like, for a lot of people, you hear it all the time, "What do you get the man who has everything he needs?"
Yeah. Yeah, and especially when you don't wanna contribute to, like, the landfill, like, for me, I'm trying to be more intentional where it feels like it's not something they just get and they're like, "Oh, that's nice," and then, like, throw it away or
Yeah.
donate it or whatever, and then you went on top it's a little different for me because our family isn't huge, but I think about your family, you have to remember do you remember everyone? Like,
Right.
do you remember and then you have to remember everything that they want, and then it's like, can you afford it? Do you leave someone out? Like, all of that, and then on top of that, it's like you add on top of your own, little family, whatever that is. Like, I know for me, I like to do the stockings, I like to do
Mhm.
presents, and then we do, like, Santa presents, and then all of this, and so it can just be a lot, and it can feel like a lot, especially when it feels like you're that default parent doing it all, and it feels like no one's kinda helping you, and so I agree, I think it is shopping and stuff, but it's even more than that. It's also that, like, added layer
When
of
the presents out, how
yeah,
are we putting presents out? Like, for you, I love doing a stocking. Tony's family never did stockings before me, so that was a huge thing for me where I was like, I remember the first year I found out they didn't do stockings, I did a stocking for everybody. I was like, "This we have to have stockings," but now, of course, that's me, right? That's a holiday tradition that I wanna do, so that includes, like we've talked about, doing my own stocking.
right.
Would
Yeah,
that change if I, like, asked Tony to do it? Sure, but that's not something that he's traditionally used to, so that's, like, another thing is also, and I think for me too, on top of that, getting my own doing my own stocking, I'm not good about asking for things, so there might be a list of things that, like, "Oh, I would love to have," but, like, in my head, it's too expensive or it's not realistic or whatever, and then you get maybe something you don't want.
well, and then I also add, like, I feel like it becomes a chore for them because it's like you don't wanna do this because you want the Christmas spirit and want your wife to be included. It feels like I'm, like, forcing them to do something like, "Hey, take over this task because I wanna feel included." Like, I don't know, it just feels kind of
Right,
weird sometimes because I agree, I have a hard time asking, but then on top of it, it's like, it feels kinda weird to be like, "Hey, get me these gifts."
right.
Because I wanna be included, and it was funny because I never really realized that impact until I got older, and I watched it in my own family, like, my mom did her own stocking stuff, so she knew everything, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that is kinda crappy that you don't
You just
really get to be a part of, like, you're putting on the magic, but you don't really get to be a part of it because no one's including you." I don't know, it's just it's hard because you wanna be included, but you also don't want to be like, "Hey."
or, like, have anything be left out. I
Right.
know, like, back on the stocking thing now, as he's aware, if I gave her a stocking and there was nothing in mom or dad's stocking, she'd be like, What's going on?" So, I think that's part of the holiday magic too, is, like, having something for everybody, and I'm sure, we'll talk more about tips and stuff later, but I think there is definitely a portion where, like, that's a communication thing a little bit too. It depends. Some men are just super, like, they love giving gifts and they're really good
Mhm.
at it. And I know an issue in my house is once we buy something, we just give it to each other. We're not great at, like, holding
Right.
on to gifts. So again, then also being the one to be like, "No, no, no. This is like a holiday, like, we need to wait." Again, it's like, okay, why am I the one who's like, "Oh my god,
Right.
I
Yeah.
wanna open it, but we gotta wait."
Yeah. It is really hard, and I think a big part of it too does come with social media, just
Yeah.
because it's like you get online and you see, like, the perfect cookies, the most aesthetic decor and wrapping and color coordinatry, and then they're, like, already showing their gift baskets and their gifts, and so when you get stuff, you're like, "Oh, I wanna just give it to my family because I'm excited about it, it's this thing," and so I do think that it does kinda mess with our expectations. And again, I know we mentioned this last week. Obviously, a lot of it we can't see their job, like it could be their job, what they're getting and stuff, but it's still hard. I mean, we're still you're still seeing it, you're still being filled with it. And so yeah, I think it just can be really hard because it can be so easy to equate all of that, but then also not want to wait because I don't know, you feel like the surprise is going to be spoiled if you wait because of
Right.
yeah.
Well, and the excitement around it too, and I think maybe that's a good point, is that part of this is because of social media. But I feel like with toddlers, once Christmas, social media and big
Those
box
magazines,
don't get
oh,
me
the
started.
lookbooks or whatever.
God,
Yeah.
Azzy circled everything in there. But like you walk into a grocery store, you walk into a big box store, you walk into anywhere and it's Christmas. Azzy's already talking about, Mommy, I want this for Christmas, I want that for Christmas. When's Christmas? So to me, it's like, okay, she doesn't comprehend days yet.
Right.
She's learning days of the week, but if I say tomorrow for her, or like if I say next month, for her, that's tomorrow, right? So then I want to create this like whole month or two, now 3 months of magic where you're doing activities, you're crafting, you're Elf on the Shelf. When did that start? I mean, I know it's been a thing for a long time, but they're like, these parents are, and that is something that I've just always been honest with myself. I'm not going to be getting up in the middle of the night to do. But like, that's another thing, right?
Right.
Like, oh, is she missing out because she doesn't get Elf on the Shelf? I'm not putting the reindeer feet on the floor. Although Tony did that last year. He's really good with the like
Yeah.
holiday magic, which is a nice thing to see. But it's definitely one of those things where then I feel the burden of like telling her it's not time, but then the toddler excitement is like, it's almost unbearable for me to wait because I just want you to enjoy Christmas because you want Christmas, but also that's because social media, because why are we talking about it? It's not even November yet.
Yes, 100%. And so I think I do want to pass a question out to you if you are listening. How does social media shape your sense of what's enough during the holidays? Like, do you feel like it's been a lot? Let us know. But with what you were saying, Hav, I do think that really does take us into like the shame around it, because especially with social media and feeling, caught in all of it, it's a lot of times you start feeling less than for not going all out. It's like, oh, maybe instead of the homemade cookies, you were only going to do store-bought. Now you feel bad because it's not up to, maybe a certain crunchy standard, or like skipping a pumpkin patch or reusing decorations. Like, I just feel like when you are on social media and you're seeing all of that, all of a sudden you feel guilty of not doing those things, especially if you are someone who maybe is financially struggling. You see all these people buying the holiday baskets and the on top of the Christmas presents and stuff. And then you're like, oh, I feel bad because I am unable, to provide those things for my kids and stuff. So yeah, I think it can be really quick turning from like a trap to just feeling really bad about not being able to maybe fit the standard, of what people want today.
And it might not even be just internal with your family. I know for me, that's actually a big one, the holiday baskets. Again, it's like a growing up thing, right? I never had holiday baskets growing up. Didn't even know that was a thing. One of Azzy's aunts gets her a basket for every holiday, and it just brings so much joy to her face. And like, she loves it. And TT got me a Boo basket, and TT got me an Easter basket.
Right.
And I love it. But then I turn around and I think about, I didn't get her kids a basket. She got them a basket and they got to get them all together. And but then there's that friendship guilt, right? Of like, okay, I didn't do for you. Or we talked about in the last episode, last year you sent me such wonderful gifts and I didn't do anything. Not that you're reaching.
No.
But my point is like, there's that little bit. And thankfully I have such good friends and such good like family to where at the end of the day, I know you're not expecting anything. And if I don't have the capacity to do it, then I don't need to. And that's the same with her TT. Like, she never expects me. And usually, like, anyways, we did crafts, we did all that stuff. But for like a week later, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's spoiling my kid and I'm not doing anything for her kids. And then it just becomes like this cycle, almost like a trap. And again, thankfully, there's nothing expected of it. But like, I am a gift giver. I want to give those kids everything, but like, then I can't, I don't know, eat for a week.
No, I agree 100%. And I do think that is an excellent point. And maybe if you are someone that expects something when you give gifts, you should think that. But I've never given something and thought like, oh, it's because I'm going to get something back. I just like giving gifts. It is a love language of mine and I like doing it. But it's true. I'm like, especially if it comes to friends and stuff. And maybe you're someone that has a lot of friends. Like, for me, it's a little easier because I'm a little more, introverted now. I have a smaller group, but I'm like, maybe you have, and like you said, maybe you have friends and then they each have like 5 kids. It's just, it can become unrealistic really quickly. And I do think that like concept of consumerism, materialism is really taken hold, because I even sometimes feel bad even doing just one small thing, because you're like, is this going to feel like enough? Like, it seems like now it almost feels like you have to do the basket. Yeah. So I agree. There can be a lot of guilt when it comes to other people.
Absolutely.
Do you have a podcast and a pile of laundry staring you down? Are you questioning your life choices during nap time or working at midnight with one eye open and 3 tabs running?
Yeah, same. We've lived that chaos. Hey, still live in it. That's why we offer podcast editing and post-production services for the moms who have things to say, but zero time to do all the things. Let us help you get your voice out there without losing your mind, your message, or your weekend.
Think less burnout, more snuggles. Less tech stress, more talking to your audience in peace. Interested? Tap the link in the description to learn more. Plus, we offer free discovery calls, no pressure, just real talk to see if we vibe.
Let's make podcasting easier, because you're already doing enough. And again, like that, I think does kind of tie into social media and stuff, because I know in high school, and I still do this with the friends I care about because I want to hear what they got for Christmas. But in high school, it was almost a comparison thing, like, oh, what'd you get? Oh, I don't want to tell you what I got because I didn't get anything that good. And that's like social media. Okay, like I see this person that I follow on social media got their in-laws. I don't know. I mean, it can be crazy or it can be something small. But meanwhile, I'm over here, I'm like, I'm growing a plant, and that, not good enough.
It just, it doesn't feel up to, with everybody else with this day. And I think you kind of touched on both. I think it's both a social media comparison, but I do think there is shame around it,
Yeah.
And like what you can do. Like, I think it's kind of both. Yeah. The guilt of wanting it simple, but then everyone else is doing the most, and it's just hard to balance.
Exactly. I feel like you can't really, I don't know, unless your social media is like all Nora Smith. Like, I just like the expectation is just automatically put in your head that it needs to be shiny, it needs to be new, it needs to be.
I will say though, even with her account, the one thing I will say that people forget, even with homemade gifts, is I'm like, a lot of natural ingredients, or let's say like, it's expensive. If I was to make all my friends face lotion or something, I just think you need to remember too, it's not always.
That's true.
It's not always the store-bought stuff. It's also the stuff that people. That's why I'm like, it is hard, especially with the scrunchie. You feel guilty having like the not organic.
I think more so like what I mean by her, not.
No, I got
it. But no, because to real quick for your point, it's actually probably more expensive than buying store-bought. I mean, I got a sewing machine for Christmas and I haven't made anything because buying fabric's more expensive than buying a new shirt. But my point of that more being like the aesthetic, right? Like,
yes. No.
Our aesthetic is very like clean, minimalistic, your decorations, but you're not seeing all this like glitzy glam, like maybe like a paper link chain for her kids, stuff like that, which is.
Yes. I agree 100%.
The time that goes into that.
Yes. Yeah, people forget, and I think you and I have a little better understanding because we do work from home and we are home. Time is not, like, I would love to do it all at home and everything. But yeah, it's not just the money. It's also the time capacity to be able to do it all. So it was just a reminder, because I think Hav is making an excellent point. I just wanted to remind you to give your friends grace if maybe they don't use the full 100% organic, coconut oil or whatever, just because.
Coconut oil? No.
And so I think that kind of leads us into tips and tricks and how, maybe if this is something you're experiencing, what maybe you could do about it. And so I think one thing I would recommend is ask for help and mean it. Hav mentioned this earlier, but don't wait for someone to notice that you're drowning. And I know it can be hard. I absolutely do not like asking for help, but because I have a hard time letting go of control. Things like that. But I do think it can be, if you do actually ask for help and you actually tell them like, hey, I would love for you to take over this task, not just like, hey, I need help. Like actually say like, hey, it would be nice if you could put the Christmas tree up. I don't know what it is, whatever those tasks are, and just be really clear and just remember like, it might not be done perfectly, but it's up and you can share it. It's just a reminder, like, it's the holidays. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. Like, it's more about you, the presence and being there together. So yeah, I would definitely recommend asking for help. It's just, it can be hard, but I do think it can help ease the burden a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I first think you make a really great point of it might not be exactly how you want it. And I think that's the hard part, especially for you and I, of stepping back is like we have this idea of what things should look like and how things should be done. But 100% ask for help. I know or talk to those in your family or your friend group that you normally exchange gifts with and tell, hey, we're doing a budget this year or whatnot. I know last year for us, I just told my family that we normally do gift exchange with, we're not doing gifts this year. If we do anything, it's going to be something small. And of course, I ended up getting them something because I love giving gifts, but it was very like low maintenance and like
Right.
very small. And there was a lot less pressure of being like, okay, well, I don't know what they're going to get me. So I don't want them to feel like they did whatever. And also telling your partner, hey, this
Mhm.
person's presents are on you or whatever the case. That one's hard for me for sure. But I don't know if it was last year or the year before I did that. Not a problem.
Right.
Tony Tony did it. He got everything. It's not like he wasn't his mom's child before I came around, right? Like,
Right.
I just picked that up, but
And most of us just sometimes it's like what you said, sometimes they didn't grow up with the tradition and they just don't have it in mind. And so sometimes just giving them that reminder is all they need because I'm like, most of us are married to capable people and they should be able to take over capable tasks. So yes, but sometimes they do just need that reminder. So that's an excellent point. It's like especially if it is for someone they already knew their whole life, like they probably take the task on. And I think that's also a good reminder of reframing anything. So, like Hav said, like tell your friends and family, like, hey, by the way, like we're on a budget. Maybe I know we've done it where it's like maybe you do a Santa exchange and it's like a $15 limit. 10, like you can keep it small like that. You could reuse things. Another thing that I think could be helpful is maybe you like traditions or I don't know, you like going out and doing stuff, but we've talked about things are expensive these days. Maybe choose one or two and then just kindly let people know like, hey, we're not doing that this year, that type of thing. Like it doesn't have to be an elaborate like, oh, we can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. You can just say like, oh, we've already picked a couple activities and unfortunately we're just not making it to those this year. Yeah.
there's also nothing wrong with saying, hey, we're not doing outings. Let's do something
Right.
at home. We did that this year, again with Halloween as it's passing. But we literally were like, hey, this year we're not doing this, 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 and this. Come over to our house and paint pumpkins and we'll order pizza. Something that instead of spending $100+ on the family, we spent $10-15 on pumpkins and we had paint and then the pizza, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you have your group of friends and they all come in and everybody brings something different. It's like a holiday potluck.
I also really do like that idea of maybe it's also just reframing the things that you already do. Maybe this
Mhm.
year there's some things that you love doing, but it isn't in budget. Figure out how you can do it maybe at home or just a way to kind of turn that tradition into something that you're still doing it, but maybe it just looks a little different. So I do think that's an excellent point that you don't have to cut everything off. Maybe you just rework it to work within the lifestyle that you're in currently. Another thing I think could be really great is creating Christmas decorations. I know Hob was just saying that was like the paper chains. You could do paper chains if you wanted something. I know I'm going to be doing this. I'm planning on doing fabric chains so that I can bring them out every year. But anything, I mean, even think about taking your kids outside and grabbing decor from outside, maybe sticks and leaves and making garlands. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room to make free decorations, but then it also counts as spending time together because really that is what this season is. It's a great time to just be together, whether that's in the kitchen or window shopping, watching movies, playing, whatever it is. So I think, yeah, those are both opportunities. It's like you can create stuff that will become traditions potentially, but it is you're spending time with your family, which is really what matters the most.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And then one thing I did forget to mention the last episode when we talked about this, there's a girl I follow on TikTok named Emily. I will double check and link all of this down below. She has both a TikTok and I actually highly recommend following her or joining her newsletter. She sends it out. I think it's like once in a month. But this topic right here is her specialty. She does it year round, and how to make your kids' childhood magical. And so I've actually learned some of these things through her. And then I actually learned about her through one of our clients. And so they also had an episode with her on it where they talked more in depth about this year round. So I will also link that just because I think she's a great resource if you are someone that does want to create a lot of magic for your kids, but maybe aren't looking to break the bank. So I definitely forgot, but she's amazing. So yeah, I will link all of that in the show notes. But otherwise, I figured I would wrap up. Do you have anything before?
Just a reminder that your local library might have some really fun activities. I know our local library rents out Halloween costumes, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did not even think about that. Yeah. And to kind of tag on, I did actually see recently where people were doing like swaps with friends. So, and it wasn't just like costumes. It was also like decorations or activity. I don't know. So yeah, look around your area. You might be surprised. I know our local casino is doing like a costume swap right now for Halloween. So yeah, I think that's an excellent point is your local area might have some really good resources to kind of help.
Sometimes it just takes stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm not somebody who enjoys going, I don't know.
No, I agree.
Library doing stuff like that. But my point is sometimes this is where we have to step out of our comfort zone, and depends on how much effort we want to put in.
Yeah. And if you are a little nervous, maybe ask a friend if they want to go with you. Just because is definitely something I'm way more willing to try things if I'm not like walking in by myself.
Yeah.
Blind. And so with that, it's okay if this season does look different for you. It doesn't need to be perfect. And I actually think getting away from like this consumerism, non-traditional holidays is in for me. Like I'm like in the more classic nostalgia, traditional, holding on to things through the years. I love the vibes of the warm, cozy that comes with it versus what I feel like is just something that came out of a box. I don't know. I just like the memories, especially like we've talked about this. I think it was actually the last episode. I love opening up my decor every year and being like, and especially sharing it now with Dash and being like, oh, this was your grandma's, this was your great grandma's. I don't know. I think it's just a great way to continue sharing your family memories, but also your ancestors. I'm like, they are only going to know about your family members if you tell them. And so for me, it's just a great way to share memories and people. So remember, your kids don't need perfect. They just need you. I know I just asked, but did you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
I think the nail on the head with that.
Perfect. So stay tuned. The next episode is going to be covering the comparison trap, which is actually kind of perfect since we started getting into it this week. It can just be so easy, especially as a new mom, to get caught up in everyone's thoughts, opinions, social media, wanting to read all the material and feeling like you aren't doing enough or doing it right, etc. So stick with us. Next week, we will be talking about that, and we will see you then. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for sharing your time with us today. We're so glad you're part of this messy, beautiful village.
If this episode made you laugh, cry, or feel just a little more human, pass it on to a mom friend who needs it too. And hey, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more moms find the show and gives us a tiny dopamine hit. Let's be real.
Until next week, keep the kids alive and your coffee hot, or at least reheated once.